So, breaking news today, in fact, just about an hour or so ago, an agreement has finally been made between Steve Gibson and Mel Morris. And I think we can use that terminology. It doesn't feel like an agreement between Middlesbrough and Derby. It does feel like an agreement with Steve Gibson and Mel Morris, the individuals particularly. I am very pleased about this. Why? Because obviously I have to cover this, and the discourse around this has been at best whataboutery and squabbling and bickering. It's been bang your head against the wall stuff. At worst, it's been vitriolic, bile, and awful. So I am duty bound now as well to say, because this gets very tribal very quickly and very partisan, I support Ipswich Town. So if you have a dog in a fight here, do not refer to my comments as your team or whatever. I don't care. I'm just covering it, all right? You can see I'm quite pleased this is over. Here is what has been said. I'm on the Middlesbrough website here. Statement. Agreement reached with Derby County. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. Hopefully Derby can focus on their administration, getting out of it, and maybe the unlikely escape from relegation. And Middlesbrough can focus on their playoff push, their excellent run they've been having, and we can stop with all the vitriol whenever this is discussed. It's been awful, I hate to say it. The club can confirm that an agreement has been reached regarding the claim against Derby County, subject to legal documentation being completed. Let's get this clear. An agreement has been reached on the legal case that Steve Gibson was bringing against Derby County, or Middlesbrough were bringing against Derby, or Steve Gibson was bringing against Mel Morris. Use whatever wording you are comfortable with. An agreement has been reached on that. I don't want to hear anything about cheating, squabble, bicker. It's a legal case, okay? Cheating, if you're comfortable with that word, has been punished, and a deduction has been given. This is a legal case between Middlesbrough and Derby. That is now no more. An agreement has been reached. Thank God for that. Dearie me. Right, as a direct result of... Let me make that a bit bigger so I can do it on the other screen. As a direct result of private conversations between Mel Morris and Steve Gibson, and let's be fair, it is the two individuals, isn't it? Both parties are pleased to announce that they have reached an accord on a resolution of the claims by Middlesbrough Football Club against Derby Football Club and others. The basis of that accord will remain private. We do not know what the accord is. I do not know. You do not know what the accord is. With this being football, people will claim a victory about this. If you do that, I think you're wrong, because you do not know what the accord is. We don't know whether money has changed hands. Possibly it has. We don't know. It's private. Have I made that point? If you're now going around claiming victory and treating this as a partisan issue, you are part of the reason I've been wanting to bang my head against the brick wall when trying to discuss this in a rational and balanced way that doesn't involve my club vs your club, etc., etc. Anyway, the basis of that accord will remain private, but the details have been shared with Quantuma, the administrators for Derby, who will urgently prepare the legal documentation to ratify the accord. So, I will reiterate, an agreement has been reached. We do not know what that is. We do not know whether money has changed hands, or if money has changed hands, how much that money is, okay? We do not know. The administrators know. We may find out. If you quote me a figure, you are guessing, you are a liar, okay? We do not know. So I know people will claim victory. Please, please don't. Right. Gibson and Morris are keen to develop an accord ahead of the Boro versus Derby fixture to be played at the Riverside tomorrow. The claim has clearly been the source of much concern to both sets of fans, and especially those of Derby County. That especially... please don't cry about that. This has been taken from the Derby statement and put on the Middlesbrough website. So if you've got a problem with that, write a letter to Derby. Don't come at me about it, okay? The fact that the resolution has been discussed and agreed should be comforting to both set of supporters and people who have to talk about this and then read the stream of diatribe underneath when you do try and talk about it. Let's just speak about that for 1 second. Yes, the timing is very good. I had almost got to the point where I was saying to Derby and Boro fans, and I'm not making light of any situation here, but look, go and get it out of your systems. Head up to the Riverside, go and yell at each other for 90 minutes and leave me alone, if you know what I mean. But, of course, there is the danger, and I'm making no aspersions about any sets of fans here. There is the danger that some imbeciles will cross the line. And they might have a few adult beverages tomorrow, and it might all go a bit too far. If this stops that happening, then that's a good thing. But look, let's assume that that's not going to happen, and everyone's going to hopefully behave themselves in a way befitting of civilized adults in a civilized society. Details of the accord shall remain private. However, it is important for all interested parties, including potential bidders, to be confident that the Boro claim will not be an impediment to Derby progressing its plans for a sale of the club. Again, I'm sure we'll get lots of whataboutery on this. Fine, whatever. If you want to keep going round and round and round, fine. As of this moment, right now, no impediment. I know some people will argue it never was and it was a side issue and the administrators were kicking their heels. Fine, whatever. Even if that was the case, great, whoop-de-doo. As of now, it's not an impediment. That's the important thing. I want to live in the now. I want to report this in a balanced way. I'm not interested in the whataboutery and the bickering. As of now, it's not an impediment to a Derby sale. So whatever you think about the Derby administrators and what they've done in the past, fine. You're entitled to your opinion on that. As of now, there's no impediment. So hopefully that can be good news as well in terms of the Derby sale going forward and an approved bidder being named. Let's finish this statement. Carl Jackson, partner on behalf of Quantuma Administrators of Derby County, said, "We are pleased to see that an acceptable resolution has been identified, which allows us to push forward with our plans for the sale of the club." There you go. So, in short, an agreement has been reached by Steve Gibson and Mel Morris. So, whatever Steve Gibson's claim was, I haven't read it. You haven't read it. It was all barred, wasn't it? Whatever that claim was, that claim is now gone, okay? If you want, you can debate whether you thought that claim was right or wrong. It's kind of pointless now because it's gone and it will come out in the wash if money did or didn't change hands. I know because this is football and this is football fans and it's partisan and it's tribal, people will claim victory either way. I am a neutral. All I want is for the unsightly arguing and bickering to stop, which hopefully it will. And I do apologise here because I'm sure there are plenty of lovely Derby fans and Middlesbrough fans who would want to discuss this in an adult way. Unfortunately, the discourse has been very, very much hijacked in a not very balanced or adult way. If I'm sounding like I'm patronising anybody, I'm just telling you what my lived experience of attempting to talk about this in a reasoned way has been and what I've come up against. As you can see, it's been a great source of frustration and it feels like you've taken the cork out of the bottle here now. And I'm like, oh, thank God. Hopefully we can talk about that without all of the squabbling. I don't know what the agreement is. You don't know what the agreement is. It's done, okay? It is over with. Wickham, who knows? I don't know. Do they have the power and the capital of a Steve Gibson to be able to get their own agreement? I don't know. That's not really the issue at hand right now, is it? So, as a neutral, I do not have a dog in the fight here. As a neutral, I am pleased that this is done because it was unsightly. We don't want legal cases looming over things that date back to the 2016-17 amortization figures and then Middlesbrough missing the playoffs in 18-19. Again, whatever you think of the rights or wrongs and the merits or not of the case, it's done, gone, finished, over. And hopefully now, and I think all supporters in terms of administration, and be very clear about this. And administration is not the same as failing FFP. They're two different things. I think most football supporters, when a club goes into administration, have some level of sympathy with the fans of that club. Park the FFP thing to one side. Please separate the two. I'm talking about administrations, and hopefully Derby, on whatever footing they're going to continue with new owners, can move on, and we can, and I can comment and be a pundit for a league that doesn't have teams in administration for 6 or 7 months or however long it'll end up being in the end, and doesn't have legal cases looming over teams over things that have happened 5 years ago. So my opinion on this is I'm very, very pleased. I tweeted the other day, please get them in a room and sort it out. For God's sake, like kids, bang their heads together and sort it out. Of course, as soon as I tweeted that, you then got a load of whataboutery and bickering and squabbling in the comments. But what I asked for has happened. They've got their heads together, Mel Morris and Steve Gibson. And again, I don't care who was delaying it or whatever. All I care is now that it's done. I'm not interested in the point scoring, the whataboutery, and all of that boring stuff that us neutrals who just want to cover the story and follow the story and observe, frankly, fed up of. So again, sorry for getting passionate and ranting. Apologies to Middlesbrough and Derby fans who are maybe patronised by my comments and think that they are capable of discussing this in a reasoned manner. I understand emotions run high, but I will reiterate my experience of the discourse, that it's been like an absolute sewer talking about this. And with that being said, I will dive in. I will invite your comments. I'll clip this out. I will dive in now and look at some comments on this. And we'll clip this out and you can comment after the fact. Please, please, please. Let's try and have some balance. Try and cool the jets and the emotions before we talk about it. Because, again, my experience, this has been a rather emotive issue. There we are, reacting to the news that Steve Gibson and Mel Morris have reached an agreement, a private agreement on a settlement of Steve Gibson's issues, an accord. Sorry, I won't use the word settlement, an accord on whatever that looks like is private at the moment, may come out in the wash. And I'm going to dive into your thoughts on this.